Okay, I see. Oh, okay. Well, that's out. All right, but shalom, everybody. It's me, Aki Ori. For those who'll be watching this after we upload it, and today's lesson is Yoceph's Ascension to Power. We're gonna learn how literally Yoceph comes from the bottom to the top, and here we go. All right. The bearer of bad news. Let's see. All right. Who was thrown in prison after Yoceph had become warden deputy, essentially. After Yoceph had been given basically second in command after he
was
go ahead.
Can I answer? Was it
yes,
the baker and the king's cupbearer? I think. I'm not sure.
Correct. It's the baker and the butler, but yes, pretty much same thing. Baker and the butler. Who wants to read Genesis 41 through 4? I guess you can go ahead and do it if you want to, Cody, since you got the right answer.
Okay. You said it's Genesis 41 through 4. Let me hurry because my cat is meowing a lot.
Okay.
Okay. I got it. Genesis 41 through 4. Okay. It says, and it came to pass after these things that the butler of the king of Mitzrayim and his baker had offended their Adonai, the king of Mitzrayim. And Pharaoh was wroth against two of his officers, against the chief of the butlers and against the chief of the bakers. And he put them in a ward in the house of the captain of the guard into the prison, the place where Yoceph was bound. And the captain of the guard charged Joseph with them, and he served them, and they continued a season in ward.
Okay. So, as we can see, it was, as she stated, the baker and the butler, and the season in ward. So I'm guessing the season is somewhere between probably 3 months or so, because one season is usually a quarter of the years, which is about 3 months. And unfortunately, for whatever they did, maybe the baker added salt to the cookies or something, and the butler spilled a drink in the Pharaoh's lap. I don't know, but to be thrown in prison for 3 months for whatever they did was really harsh. Probably a little overreacting, but I guess you could do that back when you're Pharaoh. What were the dreams that the baker and the butler had? Does anybody possibly remember or no? Let me see. Let me look at the hand. Whoop. Well, that's what we got to read, but before we read it, does anybody have an idea of how to describe it? Let's see.
I think I can describe a little bit, maybe. I think one of them had a dream that there was some bread in a basket, and see, I don't know. I'm just not guessing. I know the story, but I know that one had to do with a basket and of bread, and the other one I don't remember.
And then some birds ate them or something.
Yeah, something like that. Thank you, Libja.
We're in this together.
Right.
Yes, that is correct. It was, well, we'll read it. Who wants to get the 5 through 19?
I'll go ahead and get it, y'all.
Go right ahead, huh?
Yes, sir. So I'm reading out the King James, y'all. Better Sheet 40, and 5 through 19. And they dreamed a dream, both of them. Each man is dreaming one night, each man according to the interpretation of his dream. The butler and the baker of the king of Egypt, which were bound in the prison. And Joseph came in unto them in the morning and looked upon them, and behold, they were sad. And he asked Pharaoh's officers that were with him in the ward of his Lord's house, saying, Wherefore look ye so sadly today? And they said unto him, We have dreamed a dream, and there is no interpreter of it. And Joseph said unto them, Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell them, I pray you. And the chief butler told his dream to Joseph and said to him, In my dream, behold, a vine was before me. And the vine were 3 branches, and it was though it budded, and her blossoms shot forth, and the clusters thereof brought forth ripe grapes. And the Pharaoh's cup was in my hand. And I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup. I gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand, and Joseph said unto him, This is the interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 days. In verse 13, yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thine head and restore thee unto thy place. And thou shalt deliver Pharaoh's cup into his hand after the former manner, when thou wast his butler. But think on me when it shall be well with thee, and shew kindness, I pray thee, unto me, and make mention of me unto Pharaoh, and bring me out of this house. For indeed I was stolen away out of the land of the Hebrews, and here also have I done nothing that they should put me into the dungeon. When the chief baker saw the interpretation was good, he said unto Joseph, I also was in my dream, and behold, I had 3 white baskets on my head. And in the uppermost basket there was all manner of baked meats for Pharaoh, and the birds did eat them out of the basket of my head. And Joseph answered and said, This is the interpretation thereof. 3 baskets are 3 days. Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thy head from off thee, and shall hang thee on a tree, and the birds shall eat thy flesh from off thee.
Oh, there you go. There's a summation of the initial title first for the first slide. So, hey, like next time, add more lemon, I guess. But whatever he did, man, that's gutter.
Yeah, that's you know.
I mean, on one hand, Joseph's 2 for 2. He's accurate, but but yeah, it's if you're receiving that news, like you're not the most ecstatic. And whatever, when the breaker heard this, if whatever he did, he didn't even fight the ruler. He was like, dang, I guess that's it. Because otherwise I think scripture probably would have said, oh no, he pushes back or says something. But it's probably like, yeah, I guess I deserve it. But I hate that when I misspell stuff. Give me 1 second. Okay. Did the butler remember to intercede on Yoseph's behalf?
No.
That is correct. Let's see. All right. Who wants to get the next three?
I'll do it.
Go right ahead, Texas.
All right. All right. What? Sorry, something's happening. Give me some. Okay. And it came to pass, the third day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast unto all his servants, and he lifted up the head of the chief butler and of the chief baker among his servants, and he restored the chief butler unto his butlership again, and he gave the cup unto Pharaoh, or into Pharaoh's hand, and he hanged the chief baker, as Joseph had interpreted to them. Yet did not the chief butler remember Joseph, but forgot him.
There you go. So I guess probably after he watched somebody be hanged on somebody else's birthday, that probably what would you say, wiped the idea of asking for anything else the rest of that day from the butler's mind.
Can I answer that, Ori?
Go right ahead.
When you read the other books, I don't know, I'm not sure if it's the Jubilees or if it's the book of Jasher. The reason why he did not tell tell the king anything, it was because the Most High, the fact that Joseph asked him to remember him to the king, that displeased the Most High. So the Most High caused the butler to forget.
Oh, okay. That's very insightful. Unfortunate that they took that out the original 66 canon book. That would have been nice to know.
Yeah, really, because I look at our word right now. I look at it; it's fully functional and useful the way that it is. Period, without anything else. But I look at it as an outline for larger, um, you know, for deeper understandings from the other books. It gives the full. Sometimes it gives the total full story, whereas you get the outline
Yes.
in some parts of the word.
Yep. Thank you for that, Ema, for that useful information to know that you said it's in, well, you say it's either in Jubilees or Jasher, right?
Yes.
Let's see. What were the dreams that Pharaoh had? This might be a little bit easier for those, or just as complicated, because you know how Most High likes to, make
the
his meetings.
the there were 7 years, seven 7 years of famine, and the fat cows were plenty, and had a dream of thin cows, emaciated cows, and that was the famine.
Correct. It's 7 years of plenty and then 7 years of famine after that immediately. All right. Let's see. Who wants to get 41, 1 through 7?
I'll read.
Go right ahead. Hey, how you doing, Aaliyah?
Hey, 41. Okay. Says, and it came to pass, this is KJV, and it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river, and behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kine and fat fleshed, and they fed in a meadow. And behold, 7 other, I guess that's how you say it, kine?
Yeah, kind. Yep.
Kine came up after them out of the river, ill flavored and lean flesh, and stood by the other kind upon the brink of the river. And the ill-favored and lean-fleshed kind did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kind. So Pharaoh awoke, and he slept and dreamed the second time, and behold, 7 ears of corn came up upon one stalk, rank and good. And behold, 7 thin ears and blasted with the east wind sprung up after them. And the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 rank and full ears. And Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream.
Shout out. So, as you can see, a confirmation of 7 years of famine, or 7 years of feast and 7 years of famine. Now, we'll read at the end that this wasn't just going to be a localized thing. So, but you know, I guess it must have been as we'll read at the very end of the lesson. I guess wickedness was at an all-time high in the world, because this is going to end up not being a localized event. This whole famine. Let's see. The wait was worth it. What was the meaning of Pharaoh's dreams? Can get it. Somebody give a quick synopsis.
That's what Imaviki said, right? 7 years of famine, 7 years of plenty.
Oh yeah, that's actually. Well, I was thinking. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just thinking like there's like a more detailed of not just that, but like I don't know. We'll see. We'll go ahead and just read it. Let's see. Let's see if somebody wants to get this one all by themselves, or we can split it up into maybe 2 or 3 parts if somebody wants to. But
I'll read
41.
it.
Hey, Ema, go right ahead. Nice to hear your voice.
Beginning with verse 8, Genesis chapter 41, verse 8, and this is coming from the ESV. So in the morning, his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt and all its wise men. Pharaoh told them his dreams, but there was none who could interpret them to Pharaoh. Then the chief cupbearer said to Pharaoh, I remember my offenses today. When Pharaoh was angry with his servants and put me and the chief baker in custody in the house of the captain of the guard, we dreamed on the same night, and he and I, each having a dream with its own interpretation. A young Hebrew was there with us, a servant of the captain of the guard. When we told him, he interpreted our dreams to us, giving an interpretation to each man according to his dream. And as he interpreted to us, so it came about. I was restored to my office, and the baker was hanged. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they quickly brought him out of the pit. And when he had shaved himself and changed his clothes, he came in before Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto Yoceph, I have had a dream, and there is no one who can interpret it. I have heard it said of you that when you hear a dream, you can interpret it. Joseph answered Pharaoh, it is not in me. Yah will give Pharaoh a favorable answer. Then Pharaoh said to Yoceph, behold, in my dream I was standing on the banks of the Nile. 7 cows, plump and attractive, came up out of the Nile and fed in the reed grass. 7 other cows came up after them, poor and very ugly and thin, such as I had never seen in all the land of Egypt. And the thin, ugly cows ate up the first 7 plump cows. But when they had eaten them, no one would have known that they had eaten them, for they were still as ugly as the beginning. Then I awoke. I also saw in my dream 7 ears growing on one stalk, full and good. 7 ears withered, thin and blighted by the east wind, sprouted after them. And the thin ears swallowed up the 7 good ears. And I told it to the magicians, but there was no one who could explain it to me. Then Yoceph said to Pharaoh, the dreams of Pharaoh are one. Yah has revealed to Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the seven good ears are 7 years. The dreams are one. The 7 lean and ugly cows that came up after them are 7 years. And the 7 empty ears, blighted by the east wind, are also 7 years of famine. It is as I told Pharaoh. Yah has shown to Pharaoh what he is about to do.
Right. Thank you, Ema. And because you read a slightly different version, we now know what kind it is. It's cow. So I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to bring it up on screen what a kind looks like, but that is no longer necessary. So as we just heard Ema read, there was a great famine on the way, and it was going to be such that apparently they hadn't had one like this in a while, or maybe even ever. And it was going to be time to prepare. And so after Yoseph's successful interpretation of it, he's going to also do what we have been told in the military. Like, if you're going to complain, then provide a solution, which he does. It's not really complaining, but you know. He gave the correct interpretation, then he gave, through wisdom, the correct answer. And what solution did Yoceph present to Pharaoh to survive the famine? Well, nobody.
He told him to save 3/5. I forget now what it was exactly. In the good years, or the fruitful years, so that there will be grain and food in Pharaoh's storehouse.
Correction. I think it was, if I remember correctly, not 3/5, but 5/5 or something like that. Or
I forget now. I forget now. I don't know whether it's 3/5 or 5/7. I don't know. I forget.
I think it was 5/7, something like that.
I wasn't gonna look. I wasn't gonna cheat and look.
And see, I'll get this just to, give everybody else a break. And behold, there come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Mitzrayim, and there shall arise after them 7 years of famine, and all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Mitzrayim, and the famine shall consume the land, and the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of that famine following, for it shall be very grievous. And for that the dream was doubled unto Pharaoh twice. It is because the thing is established by Elohim, and Elohim will shortly bring it to pass. Now therefore let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Mitzrayim. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the 5th part of the land of Mitzrayim in 7 plenteous years, and let them gather all the food of those good years that come and lay up grain under the land of Pharaoh, and let them guard food in the cities. And that food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Mitzrayim, that the land perishes not through the famine. And the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of all his servants. There you go. So they love that idea, which, you know, from a common sense standpoint, makes total sense. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna see. All right, I'm back. And they were on board with it so much that you know, he got an immediate promotion from basically peasant to prince, in a sense. Well, I just gave away the answer, but what did Pharaoh reward Yoceph for the interpretation and solution? Does anybody know the exact rewards? He did get some physical things.
Second in command. He had, he told all of his officers that Yoceph would only be second to him, and whatever he says do, they do. Basically, that's me in a roundabout way.
Correct. And I didn't even realize this because I've heard this story many a time in church growing up as a kid, but he got a wife out the deal. And apparently she probably was like one of the fairest ladies in all the land, I would guess, right? He ain't gonna give you an ugly one. You know, Pharaoh's not gonna give you an ugly woman. So go ahead. Who wants to read these 7 verses to, you know, confirm that?
I'll read it.
Go right ahead.
Hi, Genesis 41, verses 38 through 45.
It's fine.
And Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such a one as this is, a man in whom the Ruach Elohim is? And Pharaoh said unto Yoceph, for as much as Elohim has shown you all this, there is none so discreet and wise as you are. You shall be over my house, and according to your word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than you. And Pharaoh said unto Yoceph, see, I have set you over all the land of Mitzrayim. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand and put it upon Yoseph's hand, and arrayed him in the vestures of fine linen, and put a gold chain around his neck. And he made him to ride in the second chariot which he had. And they cried before him, bowed the knee, and he made him ruler over all the land of Mitzrayim. And Pharaoh said unto Yoceph, I am Pharaoh, and without you shall no man lift up his head or his foot in all the land of Mitzrayim. Verse 45. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Senoeph Panit, and he gave him.
That's about.
And he gave him to be his woman, Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On. And Yoceph went out over all the land of Mitzrayim.
All right, so just to help those who are listening, when he said the priest of On, apparently this Miss Potai Pharaoh is the daughter of Aaron, the brother of Moses. That's so he ended up obtaining a very fair lady who was of his own nation, at least. So that's good. Then you have to really worry about no foolishness in terms of maybe some of the stuff that Yaakov had to deal with Rachel in terms of other guys. But apparently she was so fair as a the king himself, Pharaoh himself, gave her as a reward. Probably had to put that in a note to let Aaron know later on in the day. In the day. But it's like, hey, guess what? Your daughter's getting married. I'm like, okay.
Can I say something?
Go right ahead, Ima.
It seems like at one you see there is with what I see a lot. Every time I read, every time I see this or hear it read, I see something different. There was wisdom in Egypt. They knew at least the one that was Pharaoh at the time of Yoceph understood some things, and he seemed to have an ear. And I'm not saying it's all Pharaoh, because this was Yah's will. That Yah turned the heart of Pharaoh to Yoceph. But even those who served Pharaoh saw Joseph as a wise and fair person, and they respected that. Unlike the Pharaoh right before the Exodus, who Yah hardened his heart. But even after that, even with that, even the people began to see that, how Pharaoh needed to let Yah's people go. I don't know if I'm going way out, but it's just certain little things I just want, I just like to mention that I see. And Joseph, being a wise and truthful person, he even didn't hold back when he told the baker what would be his fate. Truth above everything. I don't know if I could have told the guy that, but
yeah,
I
take it,
probably would have
bro.
said, I can't see your dream right now. But
What's the saying? A pharaoh's not welcome. Not a pharaoh. A prophet is not welcome in his hometown.
But I just find it's to me, it's fascinating, some of the things that I see in scripture from the other nations, recognizing the wisdom and the what's the word I'm looking for?
The power.
Yeah,
Basically.
truth and power. So, and it says, even though the Most High said he would restore Egypt, but he wouldn't restore them to their former greatness, but he still restores them. It's going to restore them. Unlike the daughter of Babylon, who's going to be destroyed.
Completely, yes.
So
Because the difference is
something.
Go ahead, Ema. Because I was just gonna say, even in the difference, my bad. I said, go ahead. I'm still talking.
Yeah, I was just saying there's something to be salvaged in Egypt as compared to the daughter of Babylon. It's not even worth salvaging, So I just, that just kind of crossed my mind.
Now you're right, Ema, because in this time this is our first captivity in Mitzrayim, but they didn't go through the effort of wiping our heritage away, like stripping it from us. They're like, okay, you're in captivity, but yeah, you're still you're still the sons and daughters of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who made a covenant with the Elohim of all of creation. See, I think that was the key difference. Why, right? Because this is a Ham, and we're under Hamite rule right now. So they're just another dark-skinned race of people. Well, they took advantage of our services. They weren't hell-bent on making sure that we no longer existed either. I think that's one key component of it.
And also,
Oh, I'm
also
sorry, my biggie. My bad.
His wife, Asenath, she was Egyptian. Because if you remember, Manasseh and Ephraim are called the half tribes. So Asenath was Egyptian.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So she's the daughter of Padah, priest of On. And Ephraim is called the half tribe. They are half Hebrew, half Egyptian.
And that's just really a continuation of what Abraham did, because Abraham took a Hamite woman to be his wife. So
That's
makes
what I
sense.
was thinking too when you said, like y'all are going exactly into what I was thinking, because when you talk about Ham, I was like, you know, I think that there's a different connection, right? Because the Egyptians understood that type of rulership, and they understand hierarchy to a level of like gods. Because remember, they like have like a bunch of different gods that they worship, and you know, different things like that. And so there is a mindset of something that is higher than them. That's pretty much like kind of like absolute. So I think that the culture in itself in Egypt, and then also experiencing the wrath of Yah on a level that other people didn't get to experience. So although it's like it was bad for them, it was also a blessing for them, because the Most High had already made a promise to Abraham saying, you know, that I'll bless those who bless you, curse those who curse you. And so they actually reaped the benefits of being attached to Yoceph because of the fact that he had favor with the Most High, and and the Pharaoh showed favor unto them. And that goes to show you why these leaders a lot of times will try to connect themselves to certain people, because they believe that there will be favor in siding with them. But this is all like smoke screens, because as you were saying before, Babylon, they're like a godless people. They really don't, there's just no salvaging it, because they've gone so far and they truly don't have that connection to the Father. They have not experienced, the Most High has been very gracious, and they've really been protected with us being under their, you know, under their rulership. The Most High hasn't tore this place up yet, because his people are still here. So it's kind of like, I understand what you guys are saying, that there was wisdom. Pharaoh understood that. And anybody who didn't understand that after they got a taste of the Most High, and probably in the future will choose to not mess with his people on the level that Babylon has done. So yeah.
Well, you know, too, it's, you know, the Egyptians, even though they had many gods, they did what they saw was that what they didn't know, they only knew Yoceph's God, or Yoceph's mighty one, through Yoceph.
Yes.
Saw what he did for Yoceph. So it's not that they were going to start worshiping.
Right.
But they said, well, his God is doing this. His God is helping him. So they understood that whatever power Yoceph was connected to, that it was doing good things through Joseph, through Yoceph.
Yes. That's
So,
exactly what I'm saying.
So-
Yes, that.
you know, it's like, just like in the book of Daniel, you know, the king, he didn't worship Yah, but he knew that Daniel's mighty one was going to save him. He was just hoping that his mighty one has done so many things, he's going to save Daniel. So it's not that they worship Yah, but they saw what Yah did through his people, through the people he worked through,
And they all
and they
like
respected that.
even what you're saying, Ema, is that they didn't try to disrupt the connection.
No.
They did. That's the thing. That's the one. That's the biggest difference.
Mhm.
Like, you know, Babylon has went more. You know, they've done everything they possibly could to disrupt the connection.
Yeah,
You know?
just go back to the Spain and Portugal. They just literally tortured people into submission.
Yeah, the Inquisition was torturing us. Yeah,
So
forcing us to accept a god of wood and stuff.
and you know, it's like they don't. I don't know. A lot of people are not making the connection. Even when I talk to people about all the nations, the world nation, the nations that have dominated the world at one point in time, what they all have in common is they had the children of Israel in bondage.
Yep.
And people still can't make that. I'm talking about our folks still can't make that connection today because they've been so because of Christianity and religion, they can't make that connection. That they read the stories and believe the stories, but they can't believe. It's hard for them to wrap their heads around. Okay, we came here, we were brought here to be in bondage, perpetual bondage. America flourished as world power. And
Yeah,
all the other world powers had Israel in bondage. Hello. I mean, it's like, you know, there's so many connections that can be made, but because religion, Christianity has just destroyed that connection in a lot of our people. If some can't see it, it's going to take, you know, a mighty work of Yah to open up our eyes as to there's some things that are consistent. This
is what Shafir pointed out. That sorry, Ema. This is what Shafir pointed out. Like, I didn't pick up on it until he basically spelled it out for me. He's like, "We are the world's blessing." Like, that's what it is. I was like, "Oh,
Yep, that's exactly what it is. What y'all are saying is spot on, and this is exactly what we're gonna see yet again, because of the fact that they get so boastful about their prosperity, and they quickly forget that, well, their prosperity comes from the fact that you're attached to a chosen people that have brought great wealth, because that they have a God that loves them so much. And like the poor people that are here compared to poor people in other places, it's just totally different. So this nation has been just so blessed by the fact that they have the children of Israel. And there's also been a lot of times that I believe that the Most High held back things and destruction because of that, because of the fact that we are here. He hasn't completely destroyed this place, and they think that it's because of something that they're doing, but it's not. It's all the Most High's plan and how he does things. And I feel like older, because America is new, considering, you know, how people's mindsets are. It's like a new land or a new people or whatever. But the ancient people that have more of an Eastern mindset, they understand, like Imam Vicky was saying, the power of Yah. Even if they don't worship him, they understand what he can do. And it's like Babylon just has not got, they just don't get it. And it's like they're not going to get it. Until it's too late, until it's like fire
Oh,
is being
yeah.
rained down. But scriptures even say, even when people seeing all this stuff, their hearts are still not going to be changed. So they're just going to still fall in their pride, and so it's a whole different beast that we're dealing with.
I'm still amazed. I'm still learning, and it's just like, it's so amazing to me when I learn about the things that some of our people have invented and did, that laid the groundwork for what the things from vanilla to the internet and everything in between and before and after. The stuff that has been invented and that our people have given to this country, to the world. Almost every day I learn about somebody else, some other, person who invented something a long time ago and didn't get credit for it. And I said, man, we have been the blessing of this nation, and we have been the conscience of this nation. It was because of the Panthers, the Black Panthers, that the United States started to, oh yeah, well let's just give children breakfast at school.
Yep.
They started that. The conscience of America, we have always been the conscience of America.
And we'd all be speaking German right now, or at least they would all be speaking German if it wasn't for the airmen. They was like, you can't let these niggers fly, and then they let us fly, and they're like, well, we can't let them stop flying.
I know, but they refuse to see that, and that's what that's a perverse. That's what you call a perverse nation. When you don't acknowledge or give due to people who have helped your country, helped you, and you have taken advantage of, that's very perverse. That's a perverted mind. That's what's the word I'm looking for? A reprobate mind. I'm just stunned just when I think about it. Oh.
That's crazy. And like what? We even fought their civil war for them. Like they enlisted a bunch of us from the South to come fight for them in the North.
American Revolution.
Yeah. And like if we even helped them solve their own bickering between them. Like that's how much. And they barely did anything for the veterans of that war, just like the upcoming ones, like Vietnam and all that.
But the only thing I think of to call us is thugs and other derogatory terms.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like the Edomites here, they don't even realize, how they, and like you show them something and you bring it to them, and whether it be book in book or video format, and they're just like, that ain't real. Like I'm gonna really take time out my day to fake this video. I'm going just to try to impress you. You think I care that much? I'm gonna fake this video, this book about history, about my people, about how we made sure that your butt ain't running around in caves no more. And you just nah. Or even if I show you something in the book about what the true people look like, you don't believe. I'm like, that's a level of ignorance that only the Most High can bestow.
And I remember years ago when I was still teaching, I'm still working, teaching full time. And, I told this woman, I said, you know what, Spanish architecture is not, that's North African architecture.
Yeah.
I said, if you compare North African architecture with what they call Spanish architecture, it's the same thing. And I said, the North African civilization was there long before Spain. So So even their architecture, those throughout Europe, those were not built by Europeans. Those
No,
ancient
but
structures
we
were
read
not built by
earlier.
Europeans.
You're right, because we read earlier in Genesis that back when we were in captivity to the Syrians or something like that, the Syrians, I think, the Assyrians or Syrians, one of those, we helped carve their living dwellings in the side of mountains. That was us. It even said like we carved houses or their dwellings in mountains, in the side of mountains. That's us. That was us. That wasn't no caveman that did that. So that's crazy. Just, like like you said, we're digging through the scriptures and we're realizing that it's not just that we are chosen people, it's that we've accomplished a lot, and a lot of it was in captivity, isn't it? Is that other than King Solomon's temple, the first one, when we weren't in captivity, like all the other architecture and stuff, like we still was, balling out. Even though we being hard-headed worshiping on the gods, we still knew how to make stuff. And keep the infrastructure of other societies going. But how did the store of grain benefit Mitzrayim? Now, this is something I didn't even realize at this part of the story, because it's not really covered too much in terms of when you hear the story of Joseph. But who wants to get those last 7 verses? Not 7, 11 verses.
I can read them.
Oh, right ahead. Hey, how you doing, Donnie?
Well, thank you. Okay, 46. Okay. And Yoceph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Mitzrayim. And Yoceph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went throughout all the land of Mitzrayim. And in the 7 plenty years, the earth brought forth by handfuls. And he gathered up all the food of the 7 years which were in the land of Mitzrayim, and laid up the food in the cities. The food of the field, which was round about every city, laid he up in the same. And Yoceph gathered grain as the sand of the sea, very much unto he left numbering. For it was without number. And unto Yoceph was born 2 sons before the years of famine came, which Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, bore unto him. And Yoceph called the name of the firstborn Menashe, for Elohim, said he, has made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. And the name of the second he called Ibriym, for Elohim has caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. And the 7 years of plentiness that was in the land of Mitzrayim were ended, and the 7 years of famine began to come, according as Yoceph had said. And the famine was in all the lands, but in all the lands of Mitzrayim there was bread. And when all the land of Mitzrayim was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. And Pharaoh said unto all the Mitzrayim, go unto Yoceph. When he says what he says to you, do. And the famine was over all the face of the earth. And Yoceph opened all the storehouses and sold unto the Mitzrayim, and the famine waxed sore in the land of Mitzrayim. And all countries came into Mitzrayim to Yoceph to buy grain, because that the famine was so sore in all lands.
There you go. Even in a famine, a great famine that apparently was experienced by the whole world, not just Egypt. they became an economic power because of Yoceph. Even more so, right? They were already a wealthy nation, but once that famine hit, you marking up the prices on all the other nations that's coming to get your grain. They charging Greece, Persia. I'm pretty sure if it was worldwide spread, maybe they even encountered some of Lot's descendants over in Moab and Ammon. But they basically became the world stock exchange simply because they didn't try to obstruct the connection between an Ibriym and his Elohim, and they reaped the benefits of it. So, I mean, and that's why, like, even now, for the most part, I say the nation of Israel gets along with Hamites a lot more than probably any other nation in the world. And it's just unfortunate that it seems like a lot of the kings in modern day Africa of these nations seem to be Hamite kings that are being paid off by the Edomites. That's why most of their nations are so poor, and then you can't even go from border to border in Africa easily unless you're a white man. You're a white guy, you got a French passport. Oh yeah, come on in. Or American passport, you're a white guy, no questions asked. But it's sad that even after the union of the covenant with Israel and Ham through Abraham, that even in the modern day Africa, it's like pulling teeth trying to go from border to border. They think you're a spy. But that'll change shortly. Everything's changing. And it's good to see Bible prophecy unfolding, and things returning to what they're supposed to be. And eventually, when that time comes, the Most High will place us fully back at the head of all nations, and we're going to rule justly. But we also going to dole out the punishment as the Most High sees according in that due time too. Because recompense must be paid. But I'll go ahead and read out the closing statements, and then we can chat it up for a little bit before I disconnect the stream. All right. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Elohim and guard his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For Elohim shall bring every work into judgment, whether with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. That's Ecclesiastes 12:13-14. And then here is the patience of the Kodashim. Here are they that guard the commandments of Yahuwah and the belief of Yahushua. Revelation 14:20. Padah. Hope you like that. The lesson was short and sweet. I guess if anybody wants to pray it out right now, we can go ahead and do that. And, just chop it up. Let's see. If I'll just go ahead and pray it out. Let's see. I haven't really, let me look at the thing. As somebody got their hand up. No, okay, cool. I'll go ahead and pray it out. So, Abba Yahuwah, we come to you at this very moment to say thank you for allowing us to enjoy another Shabbat, another wonderful day of rest. We just ask that you would just continue to keep the good health of the Mishpachah and good standing, Abba Yahuwah. We ask that you would just continue to provide all the things that we need to make it in this current captivity. And we just humbly ask that in your due time that you would deliver us. Abba Yahuwah, we ask also that according to your will, that you would have all of Israel, if not the majority of Israel, if not all of Israel, cry out your name to deliver us from deliver us from this place.
Yes, Daddy, please.
That once we cry out in unison as Israel, that this place is finished, that you will come run it and send your warrior angels to deliver us and deliver your wrath upon this place. We humbly ask, Abba Yahuwah, that in due time, according to your will, that you would, expedite it. Abba Yahuwah,
Yes, Daddy.
expedite it. not because we demand so, but we are tired of being in this captivity, that we seek to see
Not
your
gonna
face.
do anything, Daddy, but I'm asking.
Oh. And we just say thank you for everything you've given us. And we say these things in the accordance of your son, Yeshua HaMashiach, and we ask these things in the accordance of his name, in his name, and we say these things in the authority, character, and reputation of your son's name. Yahushua HaMashiach, and we say this, and hallelujah.
Amen. Praise you, God. But I don't say demand. I don't demand anything. That's nothing. Somebody else. Or just open.
Hallelujah. Yeah,
Your
she
mic
don't know.
is open, Sherman.
Sherman, we can't hear you, girl.
Open.
I'm sorry, because I'm like,
She was praying and talking.